Thank you. Okay, we will start our driver availabilities for this weekend's racing at Talladega Superspeedway. We're now joined by driver number 11, Denny Hamlin. If you have a question, raise your hand. We'll get you a mic. We'll start up here to Bob. Right here in front. Yep.
Oh, sorry.
Bob Hockris, Fox Sports. How do you win a championship when you're suing NASCAR?
I think it's pretty simple. You just got to prepare the best that you can and do the best job that you can on Sunday. I think that, I would really it's more of a question for my team, and I would ask them, has their driver never not been prepared? Has he never given 100%? Never. Certainly I talked about it probably a year or so ago when it came down to this, and I started becoming more comfortable with whatever the result is, because I knew that, no matter what, whether I win a championship or not, I always was going to make sure I could sleep at night knowing that I gave it my all for my team. And certainly there's been some circumstances over time that I haven't been able to control, but I've learned to not let those situations affect me. Certainly this is a situation I can control, but I always give the team proper preparation and make sure that when I get in the race car on Sunday, they know through my actions on the track that I'm 100% in it and focused.
Go Lee, then Jeff, then Jenna.
Lee Spencer, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio and CatchFence.com. Your crew chief said this week that the team walked the Roval just to get an idea of what was going to go on. Were you part of that group?
Mm-hmm.
He particularly mentioned 6 through 7 and just how, it's just a game changer there, completely different than what it was before. Can you kind of describe what your strategy is going to be going through those turns?
Yeah, I think it's set up for chaos. Truthfully, I think that they were very strategic in making sure that they, created us, put us to a decision where what might be fast, the normal racing line will be fast, but there's going to be an option to shortcut it and just wipe out whoever's in front of you. So I think, there's just, there's what other reason would we have changed it other than to create more chaos and things like that? And I think that it certainly will be that way.
Jeff?
With the lawsuit, obviously, you don't know how people are going to react. So from your perspective, what has been the reaction that you've gotten this week?
I feel like the reaction's all been positive on our end, of course. I think that, my Jordan sent me an awesome clip from the Moneyball where I think John Henry's saying, the first one through the wall always gets bloodied. But in the end, it's because you're threatening, status quo, and you're threatening people's jobs and things like that. And I just hope that it's not seen that way. Just seeing that, this is certainly an opportunity for us to, try to promote change in the sport that's positive for everyone. And that's teams, drivers, fans, everyone. And so, I feel like certainly on our end, it's actually been, good for me, because this is not like we just decided one day we woke up and this is going to happen. This has been on the plate for a while, and certainly from my standpoint, it allows me actually more relief to focus on the 11 car and everything I've got to do there, because it's out and it's done, and now there's other people able to speak upon it from the legality standpoint.
Jenna?
Hey, Jenna Fryer with the AP. Regarding Tyler, he did his availability earlier in the week. A little bit of frustration, not really understanding what's happened and where the speed in the car has gone. What's going on with the 23, and are you concerned?
Yeah, they're in a little slump right now, and I just can't emphasize how much the sport has ebbs and flows of that, right? We went in the spring, we were just knocking great finishes down, running well, leading laps, and winning races in the spring, and all of a sudden this summer, nothing changed from a speed standpoint. Our just results were horrendous, and for various reasons. And during that time, the 45 had really, really good results. They were getting, and you can see it from a statistical and analytical point of view, they were getting finishes that were better than their speed at times. Now, again, the sport, it just kind of, you have these ebbs and flows, and you're not always going to be the fastest all the time, but it just seems like they're now, the averages are kind of working themselves out. And certainly I think some of it too is the schedule. And certainly these tracks that we've run, these first 4 races, or 4 races in the playoffs, it's hard to get results. That's why you've seen, very few people, and even some of the underdogs in the playoffs, being some of the top point scorers, because, this format itself creates chaos. And then when you throw in tracks like you have, you're just going to see a random lotto ball come out at times, and sometimes it may call your number, maybe it doesn't.
Go to Dustin. Dustin, can you raise your hand? Hi. There you go.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Denny, you've talked in the past about how you feel like you've been able to do well in chaotic situations, and how you've kind of been able to rise above. Outside looking in, this would seem to be perhaps the most chaotic situation. How does this compare with what you've had to go through at different times in the past? And you talk about showing your team you're being prepared. Is there any more that you have to do or feel like you have to do because of the stakes of the moment and the situation that you're going through now off track?
Yeah, I would say, Dustin, that it's pretty similar. I mean, if it was kind of personal issues, she wants you to give up the mic. If it was, personal issues in the past or rivalries with other drivers, that always takes a certain amount of time of your mental focus, right? But I've also always been one of those who doesn't want to be consumed with this 24 hours a day, like the driving aspect of it. I would get burnt out if I raced as much as Kyle Larson or Kyle Busch or her. That's just not my style of coming out here and competing. Make no mistake, the competitor in me, you don't think that I want to come out here and win this weekend more than any? That's what I fuel myself on, is making the 18-foot putt on 18 to win the match. I lived for those moments. So certainly anyone that knows me personally will tell you that, these moments, you typically will get more out of Denny in these moments, because I hate to lose, and certainly will not justify any excuses to losing. And so I'm going to give it all I can, and I would say, to answer your question directly, it's very similar, and yes, it's a big thing when you think about it, but this isn't a responsibility I'm taking all myself, right? We have a team that handles this now, and they're now speaking upon it and acting upon it. So it's really, the work's been done from my standpoint. Now it's just you let them do their work, and things will work themselves out.
So is there anything else you have to do for your team? Obviously, history, but
anything else I have to do for my team?
Everybody's human, so they're going
Yeah.
to,
Of course, yeah. I mean, I think Chris is a great leader for our team, and he makes sure that I am prepared. And no matter what, I've had many things that have been conflicting on my schedule for quite some time. But always, if a request comes at the 11 team, it supersedes anything else. Chris will tell you, I'll cancel whatever I have to cancel to make sure the 11 team gets what they need from me first. And so, like this week, going to Charlotte and checking out the track and stuff, I mean, this was hours before, a big moment. It doesn't matter. That's what they needed from me. They needed me to get my eyes on it process it. What do you think? What do we need? What are we going to fight here? That's part of the process of being good in this sport, and I'm always going to make sure I give that.
Go Steven, then Jordan, then Chris.
Steven Toronto, CBS Sports. Denny, this has been going on between the team owners and NASCAR obviously for some time, and the team owners have had what they've wanted. NASCAR has had what has made it clear where they stand. You talked about wanting to find a solution that works for everyone, but in the context of motorsports, the cautionary tale in situations like this is what happened in an open wheel with the IRL kart thing. I don't know how much at liberty you are to talk on things like this, and I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, but how do you think you avoid a situation where in the outcome of this no one wins and everyone loses?
Yeah, I'm not really sure and really can't speak to that part of it, but I think that it's been stated in statements by Michael Jordan that he loves NASCAR. We obviously invested heavily in NASCAR. I reinvested what I, got out of this sport as a driver back into it as an owner. So certainly we love the sport, would just love to see change as well.
Thanks, Denny.
Yeah.
Jordan.
Jordan Bianchi, The Athletic. Your team has invested a lot of money, charters, building, personnel, et cetera, et cetera. With all the commitment that you've made on the financial end, do you feel like those contributions and that investment is appreciated enough by the other side?
Probably not.
Go to Chris.
ChrisKnightCatchments.com. Denny, is your strategy for tomorrow contingent on where you qualify later today? Your strategy for tomorrow contingent on where you qualify later today?
I don't think so. No. I think that from the 11 teams approach, certainly we feel we're in a spot where we're going to do like most teams and go out there and race and try to race up front and live with the result. If we have a bad result and get crashed, that's part of super speedway racing. Certainly, you would see it from the outside as well. They've learned their lesson from Atlanta, but Atlanta was very unique in the sense that I didn't feel like I had the ability to go up there and race without crashing myself and others, so I stayed out of it until that time came at the very end. Here at Talladega, handling's not going to be as big of an issue, so I think that certainly my strategy is going to be put the gas down, and again, there's going to be situations where fuel mileage is going to be a thing and whatnot, but I think my strategy, if I qualify last or first, will be the same.
And how much of your driving style has changed compared to the older car compared to this new car?
It's not even close. Yeah, I wish that I felt like I had a bigger role in what our result will be here this weekend. But out of obviously all the things that I've learned from Dale Jr. and Tony Stewart and some of the greats that I watched, make moves and create runs and things like that. It's just a different world today, and you really it's more about where does the spotter tell you to go, and because they can see the bigger picture, and making sure you're staying in the right line. And then at that point, it does come down to some good techniques if you're within those first 3 or 4 cars, but the days of someone driving from the back to the front are over, and so you got to just do the best you can to execute. That's just the biggest name of the game on this track now.
Okay, Denny, thank you so much for the time.
All right,
Good luck
thank you.
tomorrow.